The plans are set and you're ready to go. Now, what do you pack? This is a question we frequently see in the Smoky Mountain forums. What do you pack for your trip? In today's video, we'll talk about this exact thing and give helpful tips for your next Smoky Mountain adventure. Welcome to Bear Facts, where we explore the Smoky Mountains one bear fact at a time. No matter what vacation you're set to go on, there's always the scramble to make sure you pack everything you need. But with a Smoky Mountain vacation, this can be even more confusing. Obviously, you'll need all the basics such as clothing, toiletries, and some kind of footwear. But in a Smoky Mountains vacation, there are more things to consider than which bathing suit to pack or if you should or shouldn't bring those extra pair of flip-flops. So there are a few issues with packing for the Smokies and reasons that people are often stumped about what or how to prepare for them. The first being the variable weather changes. In the Smoky Mountains, you could quite possibly need ice cleats and a winter jacket in the morning, and then shorts and a tank top in the later part of the day. Though this is more of an extreme example, it's a scenario that I have actually encountered in person. This fluctuation in temperature can be a bit frustrating to pack for. The second and more pressing issue is what kind of vacation are you going on? A Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge vacation? Or are you planning a little bit of both? Planning for a Smoky Mountains vacation can be very difficult because you are basically planning for two entirely different experiences. This video will focus on looking at the specifics of packing for such a unique experience. Our goal is to hopefully give you some helpful tips and suggestions that might help you as you prepare for a possible upcoming trip to the Smoky Mountains. For those of you who aren't familiar with the issue I'm referring to, let's sum it up for you. A Pigeon Forge vacation is for people who are going to the Smokies to enjoy the views of the mountains from a comfortable distance. Their agenda is filled with all the dinner shows, theme parks, and other family activities such as mountain coasters, shopping, and museums that the region offers. That's not to say that Gatlinburg doesn't offer these kinds of attractions and activities, but the city of Gatlinburg is called the gateway to the Smoky Mountains for a reason. Gatlinburg is just a waypoint for people who are heading into the Smoky Mountain parks to enjoy the mountains up close and personal. They are more interested in hiking, fishing, camping, and exploring the mountains on foot. And that's why I will often refer to this kind of vacation as a Gatlinburg vacation. Most people who visit the Smokies will totter between the two. I'm definitely in that group. We often enjoy a hike during the day, and in the evenings, we like to head down to Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg to have dinner or enjoy one of the attractions in the area. So when you're packing for this kind of vacation, it can get a little challenging, especially if you have limited space or aren't sure what the weather will be for any given time of the day. This video will focus on people who are going to want a little bit of both kinds of vacations. If you're camping, your needs are going to be more specific and you'll probably know more about what you need than I would anyway. I'm also going to focus on groups who are mostly adults and families with children who are more independent. Though I've seen families trekking up the mountain, little ones strapped to their backs. Those are some serious hikers. You will have needs that I will not have time to cover in this video. So let's start with people who don't plan on stepping foot off the well-paved and beaten trails. For those vacationers, packing for your vacation will depend on the weather and what attractions you plan on doing. My first attire suggestion, no matter the season or type of vacation you are planning, is to bring additional layers. Air conditioning aside, Tennessee is a southern state. That being said, it still gets cold there. Even in the summer, I would suggest a light jacket or shawl to keep with you at all times, whether to combat the excessive air conditioning in restaurants or to have it on you if the temperature begins to drop in the evening. Having something light and easy to carry in your backpack might be a lifesaver. In winter, layers would be even more important. You might see temperatures in the single digits in the morning and up to 50 degrees later in the day. Layering can be especially important if you're going to attempt to hike at a higher elevation. When we did our LeConte hike in April, it was 70 degrees when we left Gatlinburg and 45 by the time we got to the summit. I was wearing ice cleats and my sweater by the time as well. There is an over 4,000 foot elevation gain between the lower areas and the tops of the mountain. So when you are visiting the mountains, even if you don't plan on hiking, plan on bringing a sweater or light jacket. So the next suggestion is for anyone on vacation, but hikers are going to appreciate it even more. Consider pants, backpack, or clothing with zippers. Even if you're in town and drop your keys, it's still a huge hassle to find them. Most people will help out and turn your keys in, but backtracking to all the places you went to that day will definitely not be fun. There isn't a central lost and found in either city, so lost and found is all on you. If you have a backpack or zippers on your pants or jacket, your keys are much more likely to stay put. What's even more alarming is if your keys accidentally fall out at the summit of a 5-mile hike. Good luck finding them again. You might luck out and track them quickly, but it will be a grilling hike back to the top looking for them. That's if a kind stranger doesn't find them first and take them to the park ranger while you're desperately looking for them. Even if this does happen, the scramble to find those keys will put a huge hamper on your day. Keep in mind that if you do lose your keys, that there is little to no cell phone reception in the mountains. So if you can't find a park ranger, you're at the mercy of a kind stranger willing to drive to town and call AAA to get someone to unlock your vehicle. This almost happened to us once, and we were fortunate to find the errant keys before it became an emergency, but it did scare us a little. Now I always make sure both of us carry a set of keys, and I always have zippers. And it wasn't me that lost them in the first place. Another thing I suggest when putting together your wardrobe is to plan for rain. We usually look at the forecast ahead of time and make sure we bring ponchos or umbrellas if the chance for rain is high. The Smokies aren't like Florida summer weather where rain is almost a guarantee every day, but they still get rain and it can come on hard and fast. I always feel bad for those people sitting on one of the ski lifts on Anakeesta or Skybridge when it starts to rain. They must get drenched. There are really great mini umbrellas and lightweight ponchos you can get online or in the stores. Being prepared for rain might save you a huge hassle and some money in the end. Because the Smoky Mountains are not often associated with water or water attractions, many people are on the fence about bringing swim gear. If you know your hotel or cabin has a pool or hot tub, most people would think to bring something. But for the most part, you don't think about swimming. And there aren't any beaches or lakes where people can swim nearby. However, there are quite a lot of things you can do that involve water in the Smokies. To start with, there are two major water attractions, Smoky Mountain and Dollywood's Water Park. Both parks are extremely popular and you can get last-minute tickets anytime. There are also many great places to enjoy the creeks and rivers, to cool down after a long hike, or just spend the day with the family. River rafting and water tubing is extremely popular in different parts of the area as well. So I would suggest considering bringing a bathing suit or extra clothes to change into. I would highly encourage you to bring water shoes as well, especially if you're considering any of those activities. Now that I've brought up shoes, I'm going to point out how important good shoes can be to your vacation. Whether you're hiking or shopping, the Smoky Mountains will tear up your feet if you're not prepared. I have suffered with more blisters and sore feet than you can imagine from my lack of preparation when on vacation. When in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, sneakers, flip-flops, sandals, and even high heels are perfectly acceptable footwear. Most everywhere you go, there will be even paved roads. There are many walking paths up and around Pigeon Forge if you just want to take an evening stroll along the river. On both sides of the parkway is a sidewalk that stretches from the old mill all the way to Tanger's Outlet and beyond. So easy walking paths won't be an issue in the city of Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg. Though a general rule of thumb for most vacations, break in your shoes before wearing them on your vacation. You're going to be much happier if you do. So if you're an avid hiker, you already understand the value of investing in good quality water-resistant hiking shoes. But if you haven't done much hiking, you might not have thought much about your shoes. Those of you who plan on enjoying the Gatlinburg vacation will want to pay close attention to this next part. If you're taking one of the shorter, more popular trails, good sneakers will do just fine. But if you plan on a more adventurous hike, I suggest you look into a pair of good sturdy shoes that have been broken in before using. I have seen many people walking in Crocs and flip-flops on these trails, but I would highly suggest you have something that straps on and is more secure. Like I mentioned already, rain can still happen and wet sandals or flip-flops are extremely uncomfortable to wear and dangerous as well. Look for shoes with good traction. Even the more popular trails are still going to have loose gravel and are very steep at times. Some shoe places offer ramps to test your shoes on. I try testing the shoes on these ramps to look for comfort and stability. If you're not used to hiking and climb hills, you won't realize how much your feet will move in shoes as you go up and down the hills. Without wearing shoes that are comfortable and secure, your toes, heels, and front pads of your feet will get a good beating, and you'll end up ruining the rest of your vacation with sores and blisters. The next thing I'm going to suggest you bring is a backpack. Because I'm a serious planner and try to come up with every contingency plan possible, I basically have two backpacks. My Gatlinburg backpack for serious hikes, and my Pigeon Forge backpack for those trips to the city and those short hikes to the mountains. I'll start with my Pigeon Forge backpack. I try to keep this one light, and almost everything in this backpack can be found in my Gatlinburg one as well. I like to always bring a bottle of water or a container with a lid. Even though you are in town and can most likely stop and buy a drink anytime you want, it isn't always convenient and can get expensive. It's nice to just have a container to keep filled. One hack I have for saving a little money is to ask for a refill on my drinks before leaving a restaurant and filling my container before leaving. Also, it's good to know that many attractions won't let you in with an open container, but if your drink is in the backpack with a lid, they generally won't say anything. Bring some cash. Even in this day and age, we've encountered businesses that don't accept credit cards. It isn't common, but there are a few places that still only take cash. Though I basically covered this earlier, I'm going to repeat it again. Bring a poncho or umbrella anytime it looks like rain is in the forecast. My belief is that rain is only a problem when you aren't prepared. I always pack a shawl or a light zip-up sweater in my backpack. Either the air conditioning gets to me or temperature drops quicker than I thought it would. Getting stuck on the ski lift on Anakeesta or the Sky Bridge as the temperature drops isn't a whole lot of fun. Here's some other things that I like to keep handy: Tylenol or aspirin, power cords and portable chargers, wet naps, and Ziploc bags. Those little bags are so useful. You just never know when you might need one, especially if you need to store a wet pair of socks after getting caught in the rain. Now, don't forget about sun protection. Even if you are in town or in the mountains, the sun is still getting to you. I always have sunscreen, a hat, and glasses, whether in the mountains or at the lower elevations. Like I said earlier, all these items will be in my Gatlinburg bag as well. But I have a few items I add for those longer hikes in the mountains. The first thing is extra power packs. You can buy recharging power packs or even solar ones fairly inexpensively. I'm a little paranoid that I'll run out of battery at the worst possible moment, so I keep one in a Ziploc bag with a cord. Some people seek out the mountains to get away from it all. I like having my phone, my camera, and music, and letting the battery die isn't an option for me. Another suggestion I will make is to invest in walking sticks. Until having a minor knee surgery a few years ago, I didn't really think about such things. But if you're like me and have a few extra years on your joints, there's no shame in using walking sticks. There are many different brands, styles, and prices to choose from. I like the telescopic ones that you can adjust for personal comfort. These also collapse when I don't need them anymore and can be stowed in my backpack when not in use. When looking into buying a pair, check out reviews and see what people are saying. The biggest issue I've had with any walking sticks is that they get loose. If I push down on the stick and it starts to collapse, they aren't likely to support my weight when I really need them. So look to see what people say about this. It seems to be a problem with even the more pricey ones. Most brands will have bolts or screws you can tighten around the clamps if they get loose. Another advantage to using hiking sticks is that you can use them when walking through less populated areas, and check for critters that might be hiding under logs and fallen tree trunks. Snakes are very common in the Smokies, and even the most popular trails see them all the time. A walking stick can be used to check an area before treading over it or before you sit on a fallen tree. The next thing I always do is download a Smoky Mountain offline map to my phone. Once you hit the Smoky Mountains welcome sign, you could say goodbye to your reception and Wi-Fi. There are some spotty areas at the top of the mountains where you actually get some service, but it's extremely unreliable. Because of this, you won't have a means to track your progress using your phone's navigation app unless you have the map stored in your device. As long as you stay on the path, getting lost is actually pretty hard, but it can and does happen all the time. People leave the trail for different reasons. If this happens, you want to be prepared with a navigation tool to help you get back on. I always download offline maps to my phone or device. Even though the cell towers are unreliable, your GPS will almost always work. Keep in mind, you can also download maps using Google Maps, and there are other paid apps as well. Another hack to help your cell battery live a longer life: shut off your Wi-Fi. No sense in running your battery out searching for something it isn't going to find. Earlier, I pointed out that I make sure to bring a container with a lid. For my longer hikes, I prefer a water bladder instead. They are easier to carry and less cumbersome, though they can be difficult to clean and dry out between uses. I also try to bring a snack or something to munch on. We usually only end up on a hike for about 2 or 3 hours, so trail mix or granola bars are going to be the easiest and most convenient thing for us to pack. People with diabetes aren't the only ones to suffer low blood sugar. Packing a pick-me-up can be a real lifesaver. Some might ask if they should bring bells, whistles, or bear spray. If you do encounter a black bear, the experts tell you to make yourself seem bigger, make sure he recognizes you as a human, and stay calm. Unfortunately, the bears in Gatlinburg are more comfortable around people and far less skittish than normal bears. And because they don't fear people, they might not be easily discouraged. It can't hurt to bring noisemakers or sprays if it makes you feel more comfortable. A noisemaker is also good in case you get injured and need help, so it can't hurt to bring either. This picture is a bear I actually encountered on a trail. I was entirely alone when this happened. Just a few minutes before, there were other hikers on the trail and people on the road, and just like that, I was alone with a bear walking towards me. It was a good reminder of how quickly things can change. I was excited and a little terrified at the same time, and thankfully the bear decided to head off the other way shortly after the hikers came around the bend. I was probably never in any real danger, but it was a moment of clarity. So, do I carry bear spray? Yeah. Also, keep in mind that bears aren't the only things out there, so if it'll work on bears, I'm sure it'll work on something else just as well. Here's a list of odds and ends that I always take with me. A cooling towel. It still gets very hot in the Smokies, so I like to have one wrapped around my neck. They do seem to help me keep cooler. In the winter and early spring, I bring ice cleats. I have used them many times and they have saved my neck a time or two. Bug spray or bug repellent. You really won't have a lot of bug issues on the upper elevations, but they can get pretty bad in the lower areas. Walkie-talkies are really good if you have a family or small group. If you and your group need to separate, these can be extremely handy to keep in touch. There are some really inexpensive ones you can find that will still get the job done. Moleskin tape and bandages. These two items are, in my mind, one of the most important ones. Even if you broke in your new shoes before heading out, your feet might not have gotten the message or had a serious disagreement with your shoes. These items might be the key to saving the rest of your vacation. I will also bring wipes or tissues. You never know when you will need to hop off the trail for an emergency stop. In the wild, the only bathroom is a tree. This is also where those Ziploc bags can come in handy, and the walking sticks to hit the ground before walking through the brush. Also, the GPS and downloaded maps on the phone can get you back on the trail if you get turned around. Yeah, I do try to come up with every possible scenario and plan for it. There are miniature first aid kits that you can buy and keep in your backpack. I usually won't bring one since my hikes tend to be short, but if you have young kids or don't mind the extra weight, they are something to consider. No matter how hard you try to pack everything, you will always forget something or wish you'd planned better. You might get mad that you didn't bring an extra pair of socks and it poured when you hit the trail, or that you didn't bring a rope in case you needed to rappel off the rock cliff to avoid a landslide. Okay, that one's a bit of a stretch. Either way, you will forget something or wish you'd thought that went through better. The most important thing to do is to remember that the mountains can be dangerous, and people who take unnecessary risks to get that perfect shot or try and take a selfie with a wild bear are going to run the chance of getting seriously hurt or worse. So make rational decisions and avoid holding your toddler over a 200-foot waterfall to imitate the Lion King scene. Yes, we have seen that done before in the park. This will help make sure your trip to the Smoky Mountains will be an awesome memory and not a side note in the local news about the tourist who stepped off the cliff because they were trying to make a post on Instagram without cell phone reception. One last important reminder, don't forget your parking pass. Anyone who plans on parking their vehicle more than 15 minutes in the park will need to get a parking pass. These passes can be purchased online or at the park when you visit. There is a link in my description that will take you to the National Park Service site where more information about this pass is available. So that's my list of things that I like to pack for my Smoky Mountain vacation. If you have any things that you would like to add to my list, please let us know in the comments. I'm sure that many of you have other hacks or things that you always bring that might be helpful for all of us to learn. I hope that you have enjoyed my video and have found some useful information for your planned trip to Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge. If you have any questions or would like to make any comments, I appreciate any thoughts you have on my videos. As always, click like and subscribe to my channel so I can continue to find more fun ways to explore the Smoky Mountains with all of you.